Mainstream media, fiat media, they are at it again. Legacy media, Bloomberg, they're all at it. CNBC, everybody, Reuters, we got a couple for you here. And the Wall Street chorus grows louder, warning that 2023 will be ugly. So we have layoffs everywhere. If you haven't been paying attention in the last 6 months or so, the layoffs have been astounding. I mean, just layoffs everywhere, pretty much every sector. And we've had rate hikes, obviously, just going like crazy. We have the Fed, Jay Powell, kind of trying to thread the needle here, saying, "Oh, we're going to have, maybe another rate hike here. It might be the end though." And people kind of all over the world, different central banks, saying, "Oh, this might be the end," or we'll see. So they're trying to again ride both sides of the aisle here. We'll see how they can land the plane. However, again, I mean, what makes me leery though, and this is where my contrarian mind and trying to just keep my head up while we skate, right? Is everybody, I mean, dang near everybody, companies, asset managers, down to just macro people, macro investors, influencers on Twitter. I mean, dang near everybody says 2023 is going to be ugly. I mean, pretty much everyone. I don't, there might be one person or two, I couldn't even tell you who they were that say 2023 is not going to be that. That just puts alarm bells in my head. Like, okay, is it not going to be that ugly actually? Like every time I feel like everyone's on one side of the boat, the opposite happens or something the other way happens. Again, I don't know what that could be necessarily. I would be kind of shocked. It could be a black swan. I guess maybe that's it. Maybe it's a black swan 2020 and we just drop rates to zero again and we're printing 10 trillion right up front. Printing 20 trillion. We're doubling, tripling what we did just 2-3 years ago. So maybe there's something like that happens. There's war. There's different currencies collapsing. There's different countries collapsing. Maybe that stuff's going to happen. Possibly. At some point, it probably will. Is it this year coming up? And traditionally, I think the yield curve completely, Jeff Ross Dr. Jeff just said, that I think the whole yield curve is inverted now. Again, I'm not going to look it up here. You can go check it out yourself. Go trust. Don't trust, but verify. I believe the whole yield curve is inverted. And generally, and he just mentioned it earlier today, that generally when that happens, I mean, you're looking at recession for sure within 6 months, 12 months, whatever. So, generally when we get any type of yield curves, things are kind of but when you have the whole entire yield curve inverted, we got some interesting things ahead here. And then you couple that with supply chains and all that. So this is something to take note of. And I've been saying this in our investment newsletter every single month, which I believe you can find in the link below here. Our investment newsletter where we put out a couple articles a week about what's going on and read through some of these things if you like to read them. But also we do our monthly portfolio allocation where we talk about the allocation of where I've got our cash for our family office going into different asset classes and just tracking that over time. And we'll continue doing that. And so we've been raising more cash, trying to get more cash on hand so we can, fight what we think is coming. However, we want to see both sides. We want to be able to see both sides and understand what's coming. But we are heeding the warnings, though. There's a lot of warnings, a lot of warnings. Reuters, Bank of Canada increases rates by 50 basis points. Says hikes may be over. So again, here you are, another central bank, another entity saying, you know what, they might be over. They could be over. We'll see. So stay tuned. Powell's saying the same kind of thing, like, maybe they're over, which would lead right into what the inverted yield curve is telling us, that it's only going to be another 3-6 months, whatever it is, where things are going to have to start going down again. The yields are going to have to start coming down and we're going to have to start going the other direction because of recession. So very, very fascinating times. Just times to get ready. I mean, there could be huge stock bargains, real estate, things like that. So we have to be ready. Again, CNBC here. There's a slowdown happening. Wells Fargo, Bank of America CEOs point to cooling consumer amid Fed hikes. We've seen all kinds of different stuff here. But again, the big thing is you can dive into stats, you can dive into all these things, and you can make data say whatever you want. We know at the end of the day, follow your intuition. I mean, Bob Proctor is one of my biggest mentors of all time, and he talks about outside mentors, right? Rather other than like family or your parents, something like that. But biggest outside mentors or personal development mentors, and he talks all the time about your intuition, your reason, your willpower, your imagination, and the higher faculties we have, that because we're humans, we're God's highest form of creation, right? So we have these things that no one else has, memory, all this stuff. The 6 of them that we have, no one else does. We have to use them. We have to use our intuition. We know bad things are happening. We know bad things are on our doorstep. Culture is falling apart. So let's be honest with ourselves. That's what I come here and try to do every single day is, let's be honest with ourselves. Is culture getting better or is it getting worse? Use your intuition. Don't try to use your head, really. Kind of use your heart or like your subconscious. You have to kind of get into a different state and really think, like, be honest with yourself. What's a voice inside you saying, you know what? Yeah, we're going the right way. Or, man, I'm a little nervous. Like, I'm a little scared. Like, I don't know what the leaders of this country, I don't know the leaders of this world, do they know what they're doing? How do they know what they're doing? How could they? How could they know what's best for 8 billion people? How can they make decisions best for everyone? This is why essentially planned economies, again, this is not my opinion, this is just fact, this is from history, studying a lot of history. Essentially planned economies always fail and always cause a lot of suffering because you can't make decisions for your entire populace. I mean, heck, it's hard to make decisions just for your family, right? It's hard to make decisions, just what do you want to have dinner tonight? So, I mean, how could you take all these inputs, economic inputs in the world, and how could anyone possibly know what the right decisions are to make? That's the hilarity, the comedic value of all this is really from that, right? If we don't laugh, we're going to cry. So at the end of the day, we have to use our intuition, really get into that different state and get quiet and really think, okay, which way are we going? This is why we talk about it all the time. Food, water, Lynette Zhang says barterability all the time, gold, silver, Bitcoin, security, making sure we're independent and resilient no matter what. Then once you have those bases covered, then you have these, these first couple steps, these first couple baby steps, then you can start getting into some different things. Maybe you're in the stock market, you're doing different things. I'm a believer in things I can control more. But again, I'm battening down the hatches because, again, we're trying to read the tea leaves and see exactly what's going on here. And this is, again, another one of those things, just wrapping up in our talk of getting independent. Reuters, China's reported gold reserves rise for the first time since 2019. Now, China is very tough on reading them and on what gold they really have or not, but we do know Russia and China have been buying tons of gold since 2008. They know the system broke in 2008, and they have been buying tons and tons and tons and tons of gold. They know something we don't. They know something Westerners we just choose not to understand, right? Because we've had it so good and for so long that nothing can happen, right? So that's why we're getting, my big mission is to minimize that wealth gap and to be on a Bitcoin standard, because then I know that every single person on earth, no matter what your profession, no matter what your intelligence level, if you can save in Bitcoin, you're going to get wealthier over time. This is not financial advice, this is just freedom advice. The biggest threat to society, I believe, is the expanding wealth gap. That causes more division, more unrest, more harm, greater mortality rates, lower life expectancy, everything. That is the huge problem we are looking at right now. That is the problem. It's not climate change. It's not even wars. It's actually not any of those things, because that wealth effect is what's going to rip the whole entire world apart. Not just America, not just Ukraine and Russia, not just whatever continent. It's the wealth gap, the entire world, because of all the printing, because they're trying to fight deflation. As Jeff Booth said, they're trying to fight deflation so much. The global banking sector is trying to fight deflation so incredibly much that they are going to just go into this hyperinflationary bout going forward, and maybe it turns over into a new system, right, into a Bitcoin standard, and we don't have as much of a bang as we do just kind of a whimper. So that's why I want us to get prepared. That's why I want us to be independent, resilient, because the more we do that, the less we need to depend on our overlords, the governments, and to give us things, or even our neighbors, right? The more we're able to put on our mask, and if we're able to do that, and we're breathing easy, then we can go then help other people. That's the beauty of all this. If we are independent, resilient, we then can go help other people who maybe didn't heed the warnings or didn't know about them, right? And they just had no idea. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, your energy. Spending it here is the most important asset we have. Please let me know if you like this. Please like and subscribe. Please share it with somebody. And even if you don't like it, please let us know why, how we can do better, how we can inform, entertain more, and send it to somebody that might not like it, and we can fight it out in the comments. So I appreciate you, your time and energy. Again, it's the most important asset we have. It's the only finite asset we have is time, along with Bitcoin. Again, still haven't found anyone that can tell me what else is finite besides our time and Bitcoin. So still looking for another asset that's truly finite. Again, I appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one.